Ayyoub Bouaddi is a 17-year-old defensive midfielder who currently plays his club football for Lille. Despite his tender age, Bouaddi has already established himself as a first-team regular, making appearances in both Ligue 1 and the Champions League. So good have been some of those performances, it's been reported that a number of top clubs across Europe have sent scouts to watch him. There is no doubt he is the number one prospect to come out of Lille's academy in a very, very long time. Bouaddi is currently a French youth international, having represented them up to under-21s level, and although there was some talk that Morocco would try and convince the player to play for them, he is yet to be registered for them and still is registered as a French international. He has represented the French international team up to under-21s and has always played ahead of his age group. After reading numerous reports and watching various videos on Ayyoub Bouaddi, it is often said he has the potential to go on and become a complete midfielder. Looking at his game now, at a young age, you can already see that he has some big strengths in his game. One of his main strengths is his calmness on the ball. When you watch the video footage, you can see that he very rarely panics. He has the ability to assess what's around him and look at where the game is going and have a reading of the game which comes at an ease. That leads on to his next ability. He has the instincts to find the pass. Often when you see him in the middle of the park, he will travel with the ball as he is a strong traveller, but also he'll be looking for where the next pass is. Despite him having some big strengths, there are a few negatives and a few things that he could improve. One of the things is his concentration. Often, when going from attack to defence, you can see that he doesn't always know exactly where he should be. And despite having the spatial awareness to get into those positions, initially his concentration could be improved. The other thing you may find is his discipline. Sometimes he can jump in, and despite being a calm player, can also show signs of being a bit rash. Overall, he has all the attributes to go on and become that complete midfielder. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of Passion 4 FM, we can show you what Ayyoub Bouaddi would look like in FM24 and also give you a little preview of what he may look like in FM26. If you want hundreds of the latest Wonderkids in your FM24 saves, you need to download the Passion 4 FM Next Gen database. That will be available on their website, and I will leave a link to that in the description down below. For this video, we've tried to recreate Ayyoub Bouaddi as close to what he would be in the present day. That means if you start a save in 2024, Bouaddi will be 16 years old, and he's already a member of Lille's first team. Looking at the player, you can see that complete midfielder is ready to be unlocked. He starts off as a promising midfielder. With his technical attributes, there isn't a single attribute that drops into single figures. The standouts are his marking and his tackling. In the mentals, there is a bit of work to do, but he scores high for determination and teamwork. He also has good aggression and anticipation. And in the physicals, he could do a bit better with his acceleration, but in terms of his balance and his jumping reach, you can see that everything is there for him really to start to develop. So we're going to jump forward 15 years into his career and see how he will develop and see what FM24 thinks his career path is going to be. At the first checkpoint, which is 5 years into the future, we can see that he has already made a transfer, switching Lille for Manchester City. Now at the age of 21, he has really started to break out to become that complete midfielder candidate. He has played 32 times for Manchester City. He has scored 7 goals. Looking at the attributes, he has now developed fantastically. FM24 thinks he is due for a bit of an explosive period in the next 5 years that will see his development skyrocket. Looking at his technicals, his first touch, heading, marking, passing, tackling and technique are the standout attributes. In terms of the mentals, they have developed really well, with anticipation, decisions and vision all scoring the highest. And in the physicals, he has become that player that will dominate the centre of the park with good agility, balance, jumping reach, pace and stamina. FM24 thinks his career is on the upward curve, but is there more development to come? So it's 10 years into the future now. Ayyoub Bouaddi is 26 years old. He has decided to stay at Manchester City. He has now made 197 appearances for them, scoring 41 goals. In terms of his footballing career, I think he's probably now at his peak at the age of 26. There could be some more development to come, but we can see that he still looks pretty much like the player he was 5 years ago, and maybe he has reached the top of where he can get to. Looking at the technicals, it's still all about that first touch, the heading, the marking, passing, tackling and technique. In terms of the mentals, they're now really starting to mould into who he is as a player, with decisions, composure, anticipation. And in the physicals, he still is that specimen that is going to dominate the middle of the park, and obviously is creating lots for Manchester City as he is now coming into the peak of his powers. The big question here is there anything more to come, and what will he look like after 15 years? And the answer to that question is after 15 years of his career, he would still be at Manchester City. He is now aged 31, described as a legendary midfielder by The Game. And if we have a look at his attributes, there is a little bit of decline, but he's still playing regularly for Manchester City. He has now made 355 appearances, scoring 81 goals, giving him career totals of 467 appearances and 107 goals. Looking at the attributes in a little bit more depth, okay, there is a little decline in the technicals, there is a little bit of decline in the physicals. In terms of his mentals, he's still really doing well as that complete midfielder. I think he's a player who is perfect for both attacking and defending, and he has also added being a central defender to his repertoire at Manchester City. I think that this is a player who in game has really shown that explosion of development, and in real life I know that FM24 is only a simulation and we are only projecting what we think he could be, but if Lille use this player wisely, don't burn him out in the early phases of career, and he makes the wise choices going forwards in terms of the clubs to sign for, certainly in game signing for Manchester City has done him some good. I do think that Lille have unearthed a gem and he's waiting to be polished, and I think that once we get the complete midfielder that he can turn into, I think this player has a massive future. As I said, already at the age of 17 he has played in Ligue 1, played in the Champions League. All the hallmarks are there of a player who is going to go on to big things. So that's been a roundup of Ayyoub Bouaddi. Showed you a few clips, showed you some in-game footage, and showed you the FM projections of what they think is going to happen. Again, if you want to get all of these Wonderkids, there are hundreds of them in the database. Go to Passion for FM, download their next-gen Wonderkid database, and you can use players like this in your FM24 saves. For this one, though, I'm going to leave it there. Big thank you for watching. I'll see you on another video very soon.